I saw a news clip about the family that's suing character AI for allegedly contributing to, I believe his name is Soul Sitzer. I hope I'm not butchering that. Yeah, the teenager who died by while using the character AI app. And yeah, I want to talk about why it's important to pay attention to the kids. Okay. Um in this situation, I really feel horrible for the family because there's no way in hell anybody could have predicted, what happened to Sewell and the outcome and all that. But in the year 2024, anything is possible. So, yeah, you just got to be on top of everything, literally. But it just made me think about when I was a kid in the late 90s, early 2000s. I went through some some bad shit, okay? And I had cousins, other kids I know went through some traumatic shit as well, and I was a witness to it. And around that time, nobody was talking about mental health and what to do or talking about shit. It was just like shit'll happen and you move on. Like it didn't happen. And looking back now, not only from going through my own therapy, but being in the mental health field for the past few years, I was an anxious ass kid. Like back then, I didn't have the wording for it, but yeah, I was super anxious, and that shit was scary. And I don't think anybody paid attention to that. Like no adults in my life sat down with me and was like, "Hey, um, I see you doing some shit that's concerning, what's going on?" Yeah, there was none of that. I remember in like fourth, fifth, sixth grade, um, in English, we were learning about the different forms of poetry and styles of writing. I was really big on writing poems. I loved to write. That's one of the coping skills that I still use today is writing, or I try to. But one of my favorite poets was Edgar Allan Poe. When I was really going through my shit, I took that shit to the extreme. And I remember it had to be like fifth grade. I wrote this poem and I put like subliminals in there because I was having reactions at that time, and I put that in the damn poem so my teacher could see it and be like, damn, she going through some shit. Let me talk to her, see what's going on. You think that's what happened? Hell no. My teacher looked at that shit and A plus, A plus. Like, what the fuck, bitch? And man, that just made me feel worse. I'm like, I know she had to read it. She had to read it. It was just like she didn't give a damn. I don't know if it was because, she had so many students and it's just like, eh. Or she just didn't take it seriously. It's like, oh, she's just writing. No, bitch, I was for real. But anyway, and I'm not gonna get into the nitty gritty of the shit I went through, but a lot of the stuff I went through and, other kids my age went through, our parents and the other adults in our lives had no clue. And now y'all are sitting here wondering why, like, these kids are now adults and they're like cutting off their parents, like not talking to their families at all. Like, it's because when you leave shit in secrecy for so long, it has to come out. And a lot of people don't want to take accountability for stuff. And it's just to a point where it's like, all right, well, if you don't want to take accountability, I don't want you in my life. Rightfully so. You should do that because keeping somebody in your life that's just gonna keep perpetuating that harm is not healthy. And yeah, I just feel like all the adults in kids' lives need to take a closer look at what's going on and actually build relationships with the kids, build trust with them, and yeah, the kids open up. And when you give them the space to open up, they will. I'm learning that as a therapist, working with kids. You know, right off the bat, they're not gonna talk to your ass. Kids barely want to talk at all. They just want to play. But when you provide that space and like activities, toys and stuff, you know, that's how they communicate. That's how they start to open up. And they'll actually tell you some stuff. And I know for the kids I work with, they really need that time with me. They really need that safe space to open up. So I'm really proud of the parents who see value in sending their kids to therapy. Because I know when I was little, that was looked at like, oh, you need a shrink. Oh, you need to go tell somebody what the hell wrong with you. You know, it wasn't valued as much as I think it is now. And I think if I would have had a therapist starting like from the ages my clients are, like when I was in elementary school, that would have been perfect because I wouldn't have developed like these maladaptive coping skills, and I would have had like these positive coping skills that I'm learning now. Because I'm now, as a 31-year-old woman, trying to unlearn the shit that got me through that survival period when I was a kid and trying to implement more positive coping skills. And it's hard because after you've been doing something for 20 plus fucking years, it's hard to unravel that. And it's its own grief process going through that as well. I do want to add that my parents were all for me going to therapy. I did go to therapy once I got to junior high. And yeah, my parents didn't have, you know, a fucked up mindset of what you need to go to therapy for. I'm just speaking in general. And one of the things I wanted to mention is, because I came across a TikTok a few days ago, and it was this mom. She came home and her kids were waiting in the living room for her, and she was like, she's happy she's raising living room kids because she grew up as a bedroom kid. And essentially that meant every time, you know, her parents came home, she was running to her room because that was her safe space. And I grew up the exact same way. I stayed in my bedroom because that was my safe space, away from everybody, because I didn't feel safe. So where else to go? My bedroom, where it was just me and my writing. So how I'm combating that is I spend time in other parts of my house. I go spend time in my living room. I'll spend time in my kitchen. Hell, I'll go spend time outside. And sometimes I still come in my bedroom and have to have me time. That's perfectly fine. But there's other places in my home or outside of my home I can go and feel safe. Whereas when I was a kid, it was just that one room, one bedroom. Or when it was time to go spend time with my dad at his house. Those were my only two safe spaces. Actually, there was a third space. I would go over to my aunt's house and spend time with my cousins. And that was another safe space for me. Not only because there were other kids, you know, at the house. My aunt and my uncle always made it a point to make me feel supported. And yeah, just overall provided that safety net for me. So as an adult, I have all these other safe spaces, and it really has a positive influence on my mental health. So yeah, main point is, please, if there's any kids in your life, pay closer attention. You know, get to know them, like, seriously. Learn what they like and be genuine about the shit. Don't just do it because they're there. Like, kids are people too. They have their own personalities. I think kids are amazing. Okay. Like, you can learn so much from kids. And please just help these babies. We all need to come together and work with these kids. Like, instead of just making it seem like they're the issue, because it's not a kid issue. It's a everybody issue. It's an environmental issue. So, yeah, those are just my thoughts. I'll catch y'all later.